Hello everyone, Embe here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Kofari. So Kofari is a new budget attacker from Lost Origin, and Kofari is a bit of an interesting one. So it's very reminiscent of the Lunar Rock deck, but you're not playing as many Pokemon. So what does Clefairy do? Well, to start, it's a 60 HP basic Pokemon that's Psychic type, so it is hitting good weakness on cards like Urshifu, and it has the amazing ability Moon Watching. It says once in your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may search your deck for Psych Energy and attach it to each of your other bench Clefairy, then shuffle your deck. And then it has the amazing attack Wonder Storm that for 3 colors does 20 damage for each Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So if we're able to just get 2 Clefairy out and then switch between them, manually attach all the rest of it, we can actually hit 120. But if we hit 3 Clefairy and we're able to switch in and out of them, we can hit 180 for 9 energy. And then if we have all 4 Clefairy and we're able to switch in and out of them, we can have 12 energy on the board and actually hit 240. And kind of like the main point of this deck is to try and take these like massive Okos and Evolving Bees on the first few turns and gain ahead on the prize race, such as, knock out a Palkia V basically before it evolves, and then go for the 2-hit KOs on anything else towards the mid to late game. The deck is also surprisingly consistent, thanks to it all being basics really, so you can just run high counts of Level Ball, Fog Crystal, Rescue Carrier is a really good one, and then of course Energy Recycler, so it does have some pretty good consistency. There's also multiple variants of this deck, allowing you to choose between stuff like Shadow Rider and Mewtwo, which we'll see in the deck list, as well as other cards like Wire Deer, for example. So, without further ado, this first list we've got here is the most straightforward Clefairy deck. I promise these will get more interesting, but to start things off, very simple, very cheap as well to build. The most expensive card here is probably the Radiant Greninja. But as we can see here, we are playing the Mana Fee just to have some bench protection. But other than that, that's it for Pokemon really. We're only playing 6 Pokemon. We are, however, playing a very high count of energy, 18 basic Psychic and 4 Capture. But to make up for it, we do have to remember that as soon as we get a bunch of Clefairy out, we can just start taking those energy out the deck, and that's very easy to do because we have 4 Level Ball, 4 Fog Crystal, 2 Hisuian Heavy Ball in case any are prized, and then of course we have the 3 Bird Keeper, which not only just helps switch in and out of Clefairies, but also helps us draw resources. And of course we also have 4 Capture Energy, so I'm looking forward to trying this list out in particular because I think it's just very streamlined and straightforward. There's nothing like overly complicated going on, which I really like. I feel like the 1 Training Court is a wee bit out of place, just because Training Court is just super popular, is like as a good stadium. And what I kind of mean by that is it can be exploited by many other decks, not just Clefairy. So I'd probably rather go for something like Old Cemetery, just to essentially give us a little bit more of an edge. I know it's here because we also need an answer to Path to the Peak in case Greninja ends up being useless, but would be nice. It's also interesting to see that this list is fairly light on the switch counts, only playing 2 Switch, 2 Air Balloon, 3 Bird Keeper. Maybe that's all you need, but I would have expected to see at least an Escape Rope or something. But yeah, still a pretty cool list and very straightforward. So moving on, we have a Mewtwo variant, very similar to like the Lunar Rock decks, but this deck is actually surprising in the fact that it does play Cresselia. Cresselia, if you're going second, will allow you to search your deck for 3 Psychic Energy, attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. There's also an Articuno, which makes a whole ton of sense because Articuno allows you to attach 2 Psychic Energy to himself when you bench it. So this makes a lot of sense to me. I think this could end up being like the most competitive variant of Clefairy. If we just take a look at this one again, I think this is kind of like the baseline budget variant, and then this is where it gets a bit more spicy and a bit more expensive, but certainly a lot more competitive because Mewtwo can take massive Okos that Clefairy can't really manage, unfortunately. You can get quite high with Choice Belt, but you'll still need stuff like Zigzagoon Pings to knock out Arceus in 1 hit, so I do think this is kind of like the best you'll get is with Mewtwo V-Star. Looking at the trainer counts, nothing too varied. 2 Ordinary Rod, 2 Energy Recycler seems pretty normal to me. Is playing a fairly high amount of switching cards. 2 Bird Keeper, 2 Air Balloon, 3 Switch, 2 Rope, so definitely a bit higher than the last one. You can afford to play more switching cards, I think, if you're playing Mewtwo, because you just have like less chances. Like with this list, for example, you just want to be as consistent as possible. Whereas if you're running like a tanky V-Star, you can at least take a hit and, work up bigger amount of resources in hand, I should say. So do appreciate Mewtwo for that. Then we look at this list. sort of going back to basics, very similar to the first one, but we're not even playing Radiant Greninja this time. We are playing, however, a 1/1 line of Basket Legion, as well as an Articuno. So Basculin allows you to search your deck for 2 Pokemon, put them on your bench for 0 energy, which is obviously pretty good in this deck because it will just allow us to set up 2 more Clefairy. Our opponent can boss around this, but if they do, then Basculegion lives to tell the tale, and it means that we can activate Basculegion. So I should have said Basculin lives to tell the tale, and then Basculegion can, get revenge later on. With its amazing attack that for 0 energy allows you to do 20 damage for each energy in your discard pile, or basic energy I think it is, and then you have to shuffle them back in. So it's exactly like Volcarona V's attack, but it's on a stage 1 prizer, and it's for 0 energy itself. So very powerful move. Does mean that if you've if you've gone through multiple Clefairies, you can then just use this to just do massive damage. And obviously if you're hitting 6 energy, then that's like 120 damage and stuff like that. So very easily, you can easily see how Basculegion just ramps up the damage. So what I would say with this particular build is I would play like a higher counter Basculegion, just so if it ever ends up prized or discarded, you can get it back easily. This list is also making use of 3 Rod 2 Rescue Carry, so that is pretty easy to do. Also, if you just, Rescue Carry for the Basculin, your opponent just forgets you're playing Basculegion or doesn't realize it, then your opponent might not even just boss down the Basculin. They might just not care about it and want to take out Clefairy, who has all the Psych Energy, of course, which obviously just feeds Basculegion. So pretty cool variant and definitely one I'll be keeping an eye on. This next variant is the Shadow Rider variant, probably the most expensive out of all of them, to be honest, just because it's running high count of Vs. Not sure I'm 100% fan of his list. I mean, 1 Trekking Shoes is a bit reckless. I'd rather just have a 3rd Fog Crystal, to be honest. Also, running 3 Old Cemetery seems pretty interesting. I guess it's to counteract Path, so at least you have ways of just, dealing with Path to the Peak and not shutting down your entire deck. But you can obviously just use multiple Clefairies, set a bunch of energies, and then come in there with Shadow Rider, attach even more energies, and just start taking massive 1-hit kills with Shadow Rider. So pretty cool deck in that regard. I'm just not sure how, competitive this variant will be compared to other Shadow Rider or Clefairy variants. This next one we've got here is the Wire Deer variant. Pretty straightforward. Wire Deer says if it moves from the bench into the active spot, you can move all the psychic, you can move all the energy from it essentially from your active Pokemon, and then does 40 damage for each prize card you have taken, I believe. If it's your opponent's taken, then obviously please correct me, but I'm pretty sure it's you have taken already, so it's kind of the late game finisher. Still very strong though. So yeah, we have Wire Deer, we have Radiant Greninja and Manaphy again. Glad to see them back. I would say Manaphy is needed just so you don't just auto lose to spread. Also because most of these variants, with this one being exception actually, most of them do not play Scoop Up Net, so against stuff like Regigigas, their Regieleki will start sniping your Clefairies down, which is a massive problem. So I would suggest, do run the Manaphy just for that matchup if nothing else, and then maybe Rapid Strike Urshifu as well if it ever comes back. Will obviously be a massive pain for you. But other than that, there's not really much going on. There's also 3 switching card in here just to switch around Pokemon, heal a bit of damage, but that doesn't seem to matter too much, I don't think, just based on how squishy you are. This player is also favoring 3 Escape Rope, which is kind of high compared to a lot of other variants. Usually see higher copies of Switch, which is interesting. But Escape Rope can act sort of like a boss's orders, so I guess if you Escape Rope, you can move into Wire Deer and counteract whatever your opponent is playing, effectively, so whatever they promote, and then do massive damage based on that. This list is also playing 2 Capes of Toughness, which does mean that you'll be able to be a little bit more tanky, or at least give Wire Deer, 270 hit points. So, well, that's said and done. Thank you for watching. Let me know, obviously, what you think about Kofari down below. Is it going to end up like Lunar Rock, where it's not that competitive? Do you think it's got more potential than Lunar Rock, obviously? So, yeah, let me know what you think down below, and hope you see you all next time. Thank you for watching.